Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Info by Sunil. In this video, we will discuss revolt of 1857 with leaders, and in the next video, we will discuss the causes of the revolt. First, we will discuss the center of the revolt and their leaders. So, first leader in 1857 revolt was Bahadur Shah II. Bahadur Shah II was also known as Bahadur Shah Zafar, and he was known as the 28th and last Mughal emperor of India. He was the second son and the successor of his father, who died on 28 September 1857. In this picture, you can see Bahadur Shah II. If we will discuss about the reign of Bahadur Shah Zafar, then we can say that whose father was a fighter, Tanjil Khan, Sultan ruled over Mughal Empire that hadn't by early 19th century been reduced to only the city of Delhi and surrounding territory as far as Palam. We can say that the Maratha Empire had brought an end to the Mughal Empire in the Deccan during the 18th century, and the regions of India formerly under Mughal rule had either been absorbed by the Marathas or had declared independence and become smaller kingdoms. The Marathas installed Shah Alam II in the throne of 1772 under the protection of the Maratha general Madhaji Shinde and maintained suzerainty over Mughal affairs in India. The East India Company became the dominant political and military power in the mid 19th century of India, outside the region controlled by the company. Hundreds of kingdoms and principalities was come under Bahadur Shah II. Even we have seen in during the period of revolt, many people were collected there and surround around the area with the aim that they can achieve independence from the British East India Company. As the emperor was respected by the company, we have known that who provided him with pension. The emperor permitted the company to collect taxes from Delhi and maintain a military force in it. Zafar never had any interest in statecraft or had any imperial ambition. After the Indian rebellion of 1857, the British exiled him from Delhi. We have also seen that Bahadur Shah Zafar was noted as a Urdu poet, having written a number of Urdu ghazals, while some part of his opus was lost or destroyed during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. A large collection did survive and was compiled into the Kulliyat-e-Zafar. The court that he maintained was home to several renowned Urdu scholars. Poets and writers include Mirza Ghalib, we all know that these were the popular poets and writers, Dag Dehelvi, Momin Khan Momin, Muhammad Ibrahim Zok, who was also Bahadur Shah Zafar's mentor. After Zafar's defeat, he said, गजियों में बू रहेगी जब तलक ईमान की तख्ते लंदन तक चलेगी तेग हिंदुस्तान की. So it was very popular line during the revolt of 1857 which Bahadur Shah II said. If we talk about the rebellion of 1857 under Bahadur Shah II, then we can say that the administration of the city and its new occupying army was described as chaotic and troublesome during the reign of Bahadur Shah II, which functioned haphazardly. The Mughal Empire nominated eldest son Mirza Mughal as the commander-in-chief of his forces. However, Mirza Mughal had little military experience and was rejected by the sepoys. The sepoys did not have any commander since each regiment refused to accept orders from someone other than their own officers. Mirza Mughal administration extended no further than the city. Outside Gujar, herders began levying their own tolls and traffic, which became increasingly difficult to feed the city. In this, we can say the main part of Bahadur Shah II, and this was very crucial part of revolt of 1857. And we can also say that Bahadur Shah II was also took a refuge at Humayun's Tomb in an area that was an outskirt of Delhi. Company forces led by Major William Hodgson surrounded the tomb and Zafar was captured on 20 September 1857. The next day, Hodgson shot his sons Mirza Mughal and Mirza Khizr Sultan and grandson Mirza Abu Bakat under his own authority at the Khuni Darwaza near the Delhi gate and declared Delhi to be captured. Bahadur Shah himself was taken to his wife Haveli where he was treated disrespectfully by his captors. When brought news of the executions of his sons and grandson, the former emperor was described as being so shocked and depressed that he was unable to react. If we talk about the trial that Bahadur Shah II have, So the trial was a consequence of the Sepoy mutiny and lasted for 21 days, had 19 hearings, 21 witnesses, and over 100 documents in Persian and Urdu with the English translations. At first, the trial was suggested to be held at Kolkata, the place where directors of East India Company used to their sittings in connection with their commercial pursuits. But instead, Red Fort in Delhi was selected for the trial. It was first case to be tried at the Red Fort. We need to know that Bahadur Shah II during the revolt, what were the trials that he had made to improve the conditions of Indian people. So first, he was aiding and abetting the mutinies of the troops. Second, he was encouraging and assisting diverse persons in waging war against the British government. Third one is assuming the sovereignty of Hindustan. The fourth one we can say that causing and being accessory to the murder of the Christians. On the 20th day of the trial, Bahadur Shah II defended himself against these charges. Bahadur Shah in his defense stated that his complete helplessness before the will of the sepoys. Now we can move on to our second revolt of 1857 leader, who was called as General Bakat Khan. In this picture, you can clearly see General Bakat Khan. He was the commander in chief of the Indian independence versus Delhi during the Indian Rebellion of 1857 against the East India Company. Or we can say that we must not need to go into much detail that about General Bakat Khan, but the main thing that we know about his personal life, like he was born in Bijnor in Rohilkhand. He was also become a superpower chief native commanding officer in the army of East India Company, or we can say that he has 40 years of experience in the Bengal Horse Artillery, as well as he was also known as the number of British officers, including several who were to serve against in 2007, and described as being the most intelligent character who was fond of Indian society. If we talk about the revolt under General Bakat Khan, then we can say that with the outbreak of the mutiny in Bareilly, Subedar Bahadur Khan had been acclaimed as general by the sepoys involved. When Bakat Khan heard of the rebellion in Meerut, he decided to march to Delhi to support the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar army. By the time Bakat Khan arrived at Delhi on 1 July 1857 with large number of Rohilla sepoys, the city has already been taken by rebel forces and the Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah Zafar had been proclaimed Emperor of India. The Bareilly Brigade, led by Bhagat Khan, included four regiments of Bengal native infantry, one of cavalry, and a battery of artillery. The appearance of this substantial reinforcement marching in the good order dismayed the British, besieging Delhi and impressed Bahadur Shah Zafar. Bakat and his officers were quickly summoned to meet with the emperor. The emperor's eldest son Mirza Mughal, also called as the Mirza Zahiruddin, had been given the title of Chief General. But this prince had no military experiences. This was the moment where we have seen that Bagat Khan, along with his powerful forces, has reached Delhi. With his arrival in the Delhi, the leadership position need to be improved. Bakat Khan administrative abilities, we all know that he was very fast, very quick, and very evident. And the power that which he has the actual authority, and he has also the title of Sahib Alam Bahadur or Lord Governor General. In simple, we can say that Lord Governor General. Khan was virtual commander of the Sepoy forces. Although Mirza Zahiruddin was still the commander in chief, Bakat Khan faced many problems which needed his immediate attention. The first and foremost problem was financial. So, we all know that financial problem was the very basic one, and the emperor authority to collect taxes. The second problem that we have was the logistical one of supplies, which became more and more acute with passage of time, and even more so. The British forces assaulted the city in September 1857. The British had many spies and agents in the city and were constantly pressurizing Bahadur Shah to surrender. The situation around Delhi proceeded to deteriorate rapidly. Bakat Khan leadership could not compensate for the rebels' lack of organization, supplies, and military strength. Delhi was besieged on 8 June 1857. On 14 September, the British assaulted the Kashmiri Gate and Bahadur Shah fled to Humayun tomb before surrendering to the British against Bakat Khan. We have also seen that his sons Mirza Abu Bakr and Mirza Khizr were shot in cold blood. Innocent civilians of Delhi were killed along with many rebel leaders, some being betrayed. Bakat Khan himself left Delhi and joined rebel forces to Lucknow and Shahjahanpur. Later, Bahadur Shah Zafar was tried on the charges of treason and exiled to Rangoon, Burma, when he died in 1862. Now we can move on to our third leader of 1857, who was known as Nanasahi Peshwa II of Kanpur. So in this picture you can see Nanasahi Peshwa II. He was using cigar. So he was born as the Dhondu Pant, was an Indian Peshwa of the Maratha Empire of aristocrat. He was one of the major fighters of the revolt of 1857 who led rebel in Kanpur. He adopted son of the exiled Maratha Peshwa Bajirao. Nanasai believed that he was entitled to painting from East India Company, but we can say that he had some issues, whether we can say financial, contractual, are the part of the company. If you have to continue the pension after his father's death, as well as perceive his his policies relating to join the rebellion. We can go not into much detail, but keep up to the basics. So, if you talk about the early life of Peshwa II, we can say after the Maratha defeat in the Third Maratha War, the East India Company had exiled Peshwa Bajirao II to Bithor, where he maintained a large establishment paid. Not just that, we can also say that the mother of children, as well as we can say that his family from the Western Ghatu became a court official of the former Peshwa at Bithor. Lacking son, Bajirao adopted Nana Sahib and his younger brother in 1827. The mother of children was sister of one of the Peshwa's wives. Nana Sahib's childhood associates include Tatya Tope, Azimullah Khan, and Mani Karinika Tambe. Tatya Tope was the son of Pandurang Rao Tope, an important noble at the court of the Peshwa Bajirao II. If we talk about the inheritance of Nana Sahib, then we can say the doctrine of lapse was an annexation policy devised by Lord Dalhousie, who was the British Governor General of India between 1848 and 1856. Now we can move to our third revolt of 1857 leader. She was Rani Lakshmi Bai. We all know that, and we have also heard many poems and many brave things about Rani Lakshmi Bai. You can see in this picture. She was very brave. She was also known as Rani of Jhansi. Was an Indian queen, the Maharani consort of Marathi Peninsula state of Jhansi from 1843. We can also say that she has a nickname called Manu. She was married to Raja Gangadhar Rao in 1842. She has adopted child in 1853, but Lord Dalhousie visited to an ecstasy and a doctor of labs. Rani did not surrender and died fighting at Company near Jhansi during the revolt of 1857. Not just that, if we could talk about the early life of Rani Lakshmi Bai, so we can say that her father was Moropan Tambe, her mother was Bhagirati Sapre, her parents came from Maharashtra, her mother died when she was just 4 years old, her father was commander of the war of Kalyan Prant, her father worked for Peshwa Bajirao II of Bithor district, the Peshwa called her Chabili, which means beautiful. She was educated at home and was taught to read and write and was more independent in her childhood than other of her age. Her studies include horsemanship, shooting, fencing. She was one of the leaders who like horsemanship. She was very brave that even she can fight with any men. She was not afraid or scared of anyone. That's why she was known as also brave Rani of Jhansi. Rani Lakshmi was accustomed to riding the horseback accompanied by escorts between the palace and the temple. Although she has also carried a palanquin. Her horses include Sarangi Pavan and Badal. According to historians, she rode Badal when escaping from the fort in 1858. Her palace, the Rani Mahal, has now been converted into a museum. It houses a collection of archaeological remains of the period between 9th and 12th centuries AD. On 17 June, in Kotha Ke Serai, near the Phool Bagh of Gwalior, a squadron of 8th King under Captain Heenage, fought the large Indian force commanded by Rani Lakshmi Bai, who was trying to leave the area. The 8th Hussar charged into the Indian force, slaughtering means killing of 5,000 Indian soldiers, include any Indian over the age of 16. They have picked up many guns and continue to fight up to the Fulbagh encampment. This engagement, according to the eyewitness account, Rani Lakshmi Bai put on a soldier's uniform and attacked one of the hussars. She was unhorsed and also wounded, probably by his sabre. Even according to Colonel Malleson, where he says that whatever her faults in British eyes may have been, her countrymen will ever remember that she was driven by ill treatment into rebellion and that she lived and died for her country. We cannot forget her contribution for India. According to a memoir purporting to be Damodar Rao, the young prince was among his mother troops and household at the Battle of Gwalior. Together with others who had survived the battle, he also fled from the camp of Rao Sahib of Bithur. And as the village people of Bundelkhand dared not aid them for fear of reprisals from the British, they were forced to live in the forest and suffer many privations. After 2 years, there was above 12 survivors, and these, together with another group of 24, they encountered sought the city of Jalrapatan, where we see that more of the refugees were belong from Jhansi. Damodar Rao of Jhansi surrendered himself to a British officer, and his memoir ends in May 1860. Now we can move on to our next rebellion, or we can say the leader of 1857. She was known as the Begum Hazrat Mahal. You can clearly see in this picture how she was beautiful. She is known for the leading role she had in the rebellion against the British East India Company during the Indian Revolt of 1857. After her husband has been exiled to Kolkata and the Indian rebellion broke out, she made her son Prince Birjis Kadir the Wali. Wali means ruler of Awadh, which was in UP, with herself as regent during in minority. However, she was forced to leave this role after a short reign. She finally found asylum in Nepal onto Holler. She died in 1857 in Nepal. She died in 1879 in Nepal. Her role in the rebellion has given her heroine status. If we talk about the early life of Begum Hazrat Mahal, then we can say that her name was Mohammadi Khanum and she was born in Faizabad, Awadh, India. She was sold by her parents and became a courtesan by profession. She entered the royal harem as a khawasin after having been sold to royal agents, where she was promoted to a pari and was known as Mehak Pari. She became a begum after being accepted as a royal concubine of the king of Awadh. In 1856, the British annexed Awadh and Wajid Ali Shah was exiled to Kolkata. She was eventually to take charge of the affairs of the state of Awadh, despite her divorce with the Nawab. Now we can move on to next. He was he was Ahmadullah Khan, and we can say that being practicing Muslim, he was also an epitome of religious unity. He represented Ganga Jamuna culture of Faizabad. In the rebellion of 1857, royalties like Nanasahi and Khan Bahadur Khan fought alongside Ahmadullah. The British could never catch Maulvi alive. The prince could never catch. The price of 50,000 pieces of silver was announced to capture him. Finally, the king of Poland, Raja Jagannath Singh, killed Maulvi, and that was his end. Then we can see in this picture he was Mangal Pandey, a true leader, a true fighter in the revolt of 1857. Not just that, we can also say that Mangal Pandey was one of the fighters who can break anyone. In 1984, the Indian government issued a postage stamp to remember him. His life and actions have also been portrayed in several cinematic productions. Mangal Pandey was born in Nagwa, a village of Upper Balia district, Kadid and Concord provinces, to a Hindu Brahmin family. He had joined the Bengal army in 1849. In March 1857, he was a private soldier in the 5th Company of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry. On the afternoon of 29th March 1857, Lieutenant Bog, adjutant of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry at Barakpur, we have seen the mutiny has game play. Mangal Pandey was pacing in front of the regiment guard room by the parade ground armed with a loading of muskets, calling upon the men to rebel and threatening to shoot the first European that he set his eyes on. If we talk about the achievements that he had very well developed weapons which can run to the army and destroy anyone, with quarter guard building open, learning the detachment of British soldiers with disembarking from steamer near the cantonment. Now we can move to our next rebellion. In this you can see the rebellion, and basically he was one of the greatest rebellion who can fight in 1857, but we have not too much detail or we can not have any accurate evidences, so we can't predict. Last we have Kumar Singh. He was also the great fighter during the revolt of 1857 who had led many battles, but in the end these were not very much capable of winning the battles. Thank you. If you enjoy my video, like, subscribe. In the next video we will discuss the causes and revolt of 1857. Thank you.